All right, Shalom. I want to start by saying, call Allah, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, Rakakadash. My honors to the Positive Israel, aka the Positive Great Millstone, and peace and love to all the Akim. Continue to preach the truth and all truth and sincerity. Real quick, so I'm the brother Ali Ashai, and Lord willing to be edifying, but as the title reads, it says, these are the first stages and happening a lot faster than they said it would. Scary stuff. Now, that's actually a comment word for word that I saw in a video I seen on social media from the Breaking 911. I think it's what it's called, Breaking 911. And basically, there's a proposal that the TSA has saying that if you don't have a real ID or a passport, when I guess you go on the airport, you go on a flight, whatever, and it's national, by the way, I believe, it's going to be an $18 fee. Now, I'm going to read the article now. For the most part, I've seen ABC covering it, but at the end of the day, if it's a proposal and it's involving charging, they definitely probably going to do it. All right, it's not just a proposal. They going to do this, man, because what they're doing is, I actually looked up ChatGPT why they're doing it. And they said basically they're trying to, they didn't say the word court, but they're basically trying to get people more into the biometric form of payment and ID, which is all this real ID, digital ID, all this stuff. So, like, remember, this is part of the B system, and that's how he's gradually ushering it in. He's going to usher in the MOTB, the Michael See It, which people already have. But as far as, remember, he said he calls of all. So as time goes on, he's going to progress more into bringing out the MOTB to where everybody's going to have that in their skin to buy or sell. Now, here we go right to this article. Now, it's from ABC News, and I believe it's from 20 hours ago, because, this is from 8:23 p.m. on November 19th, 2025, which is almost 24 hours ago in a few hours. And it's from ABC News, and it says, no real ID. It could cost you $18 to go through TSA checkpoints under proposed rule. So now you already paid for your flight. You already paid for all expenses of your trip or whatever. But on top of that, TSA is going to clock another $18 from you just because you didn't comply with the new system they got going on. So you see, that's part of that causing. Like, we're not forcing you to get a real ID or making you have to get a passport, but we're saying that you're gonna have to pay this XYZ fee if you don't have it. Which in part is still forcing, but it's not really forcing. Because people could be like, oh, well, I'm just not gonna fly. But you have people that need to fly. Remember, a form of flying is a form of travel. So that's what they hit, the traveling, purchasing, all of that shit, man. And so you have to pay, and remember, that's damn near $20. So that's damn near $20 you got to pay at a TSA checkpoint just because you don't have a real ID or a passport. Mainly a real ID. Because remember, this is national flights. So you don't even need a passport to fly nationally, but that's the devil. See, he's slowly, gradually getting it to where, like, you have to have this, it's going to be a certain stipulation to move in society. And that's what the scripture said. It said he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. Now, right now, it's not a receiving of mark, but a receiving of, like, you have to have this in order to do this, which revolves around buying and selling. That's why I say, all right, we're not forced to get the real ID or whatever, but if you need to travel at the TSA, there's going to be an $18 fee. So let me get to this article. So it says, airplane passengers without a real ID or passport can face an $18 fee under a new rule proposed. Proposed by the Transportation Security Administration, which the TSA acronym stands for. It says, under the proposed rule set to be published in the Federal Register on Thursday, which is today, travelers without the required identification will have their identity verified on a new biometric kiosk system before they're permitted to pass through the checkpoint. The $18 fee, which will allow passengers to access TSA checkpoints for 10 days, will be used to help pay for the new technology, according to the notice. So now you got to pay for the technology. Shalom, up. It says, pass through the checkpoint. It said the $18 fee, which will allow passengers to access TSA checkpoints for 10 days, will be used to help pay for the new technology, according to the notice. So now they even make you have to pay for the technology. It says it's unclear when exactly the new system and accompanying $18 fee will roll out, the publication of the new rule in the Federal Register kicks off a public comment period on a proposed change. Now, watch how probably fast they decide to pass this to where it's charging people. Just watch. So it said the Federal Real ID Act was passed by Congress in 2005. Oh, 20 years ago. That's the year I graduated high school. So it said the Federal Real ID Act was passed by Congress in 2005 in the wake of the 9/11 attacks. After years of delays, the Department of Homeland Security in May finally began enforcing the Real ID requirement for travelers on domestic flights. Now, why such a long delay? Why did they take so long? Because why? It's all staged. It's all set up for a season. It's all set up for a time. And remember, it's the Lord controlling them. And now we're at the end. They have to get more into their beast bag. They have to get more into their beast system, which in terms of real ID and digital ID, nope. If you don't have this, you can't. You have to pay an $18 fee. And if you don't want to pay the $18 fee, you can't travel. You can't go through the checkpoint. Which means you can't get on the flight. That's how they coming. Remember, this that cruel wrath. Yeah, your usual thing of just hopping on a plane and traveling somewhere. Now they saying you need to have this or you got to pay this. And they're going to do the same thing with the MOTB until they like, yo, if you don't have it, you just can't. Because when they bring out the MOTB, that's going to be how you buy and sell. So if you don't have the MOTB, you can't buy or sell anyway. But as of right now, before the actual MOTB, the micro SIM is rolled out, like how this real ID is being rolled out, they're saying that you have to have this real ID or this or your passport to check through the checkpoint without having to pay the $18 fee, because you're gonna have to go through the biometric whatever kiosk to see your identity, since you don't have a real ID or a passport. All right. On domestic, so it says the Federal Real ID Act. The Federal Real ID Act was passed by Congress in 2005 in the wake of the 9/11 attacks. After years of delays, the Department of Homeland Security in May finally began enforcing the Real ID requirement for travelers on domestic flights. So this is traveling throughout America. This ain't even leaving the country or coming back in. All right. It says, regarding the plans for a new identity verification fee, a TSA spokesperson told ABC News this notice serves as a next step in process in Real ID compliance. So see the key word, compliance. They want you to comply with what they got going on, what they want you to do if you want to travel. And they know people are going to want to travel. So in part, instead of paying an $18 fee, people are going to be like, well, I might as well just get a real ID or get my passport. Because soon enough, they're going to say, hey, even if you have a passport, you need a real ID. Or they might, or remember, talking about making a passport digital as well. I believe that was Apple. Talking about you can put your passport digitally on your phone. So it said this notice serves as a next step in a process in Real ID compliance, which was signed into law more than 20 years ago and finally implemented by Secretary Kristi Noem as of May 2025. TSA is working with stakeholders and partners to ensure both security and efficiency at our checkpoints. Additional guidance will be announced in the coming days. And now I'll go talk about how the new system will work. It says if a traveler goes to a TSA security checkpoint without a real ID or passport, TSA plans to use what it's referring to as a modernized alternative identity verification program to verify their identity using the individual's biographic information according to the notice. Now, think about it, biometrics. So eventually it's going to be what? It's going to be to scan your chip. That's where we're headed. And it's right there. Yeah, real ID. Yeah, have your passport, but eventually you're going to need this micro chip in you. If you want to travel, if you want to buy or sell, if you want to do this, if you want to do that. They know, they'll remember that it said they did a diligent search. They know people going to want to fly. They know people going to need to fly. And some people might not even want to fly, but they have to fly for work, which means all these athletes, all these motherfuckers that got to ride flights all the time, you're going to have to get a real ID or whatever, a passport. But the whole thing is really a real ID, not a passport, because it's domestic. So eventually, it's not going to matter if you have a passport, but if you don't have a passport, you want to travel domestically, you still got to get a real ID. It says, however, the agency notes this does not guarantee that an individual's identity will be verified or that individual will be provided access to the sterile area of the airport. According to the notice, travelers could face additional security screening and may encounter delays if they're using an alternative form ID. The notice says, see there you go, making life harder. And they're going to do the same thing with this. They're going to do the same thing with the C that they're doing with this. Oh, it's going to making life more inconvenient for you if you don't comply with their new shit, their new system. You see this? They said it right here. It says, however, the agency notes this does not guarantee that an individual's identity will be verified or that individual will be provided access to the sterile area of the airport. According to the notice, travelers could face additional security screening and may encounter delays if they use an alternative form of ID, the notice states. So even if you still don't get the real ID and you go through the bullshit, you still might have to face additional security screenings. All right, it says TSA said the new system which replaces its current, the TSA said the new system which replaces its current system to verify identity will help reduce time and help streamline the process. The fee is being charged to compensate for the costs and resources being used for the new technology. So yeah, you're gonna have to pay for it. You're footing the bill on this. Cause they can either just do the shit. Why you need to take the money from the people? But that's not. Anyway, it said the $18 non-refundable fee is valid for 10 days, and if you travel again during that time period without a real ID or passport, you would not have to pay the fee again according to the proposed rule. But 10 days, why don't they do it? Why don't they do it for like a year? Because they want to keep getting money at you. Yo, you want to keep traveling? You don't want to have a real ID? You have to pay this $18 fees on top of all of your travel, your tickets and where you're going, the expenses and all that. You have to pay another $18. And remember, that's each person. So if you're not a minor, so each adult, so let's say, right, you have 10 people going to travel somewhere and none of these people have a real ID or a passport. That means that the TSA is about to pocket $180 to go to the system that they already using, that they already have the technology to be used and to chip in on that shit. And that was the whole article. So you see that? The real ID. If you don't have a real ID, and this is what they close the shit and they open it back up. See what they're going to, when they open back up, there's going to be new stipulations. There's going to be new requirements. Even Stevie Wonder could have saw that. You close the government, you close the whole TSA, the whole travel shit was fucked up, and then you open it back up, and now you have all these. Oh, if you don't have a real ID, you gotta pay this fee. Oh, they're saying also the SNAP recipients, then now they're gonna have to reapply for their benefits, and it's all after the government opened back up. So they didn't open back up just to the regular thing. They opened it back up to a change, to a reset, and that's what their goal is, a global reset. And we're ultimately, this is prophecy of these devils about to usher in the mark of the beast. This is all part of the beast system. Everything digital. And all this biometric technology, all this biometrics this and biometrics that. Soon enough, it's going to go to a high school basketball game, you have to get scanned. You're going to need a real ID. And that's where we're going. But these devils have to do it. So you keep pushing this agenda, because the more you do this, the closer we are to your end. Because now you're on the way to filling your belly. Hold on, let me get that real quick. Hold on 1 second. Fill his belly. What is that? Job? I think that's Job. If my memory serves me right, I think that's Job 20. Yeah, it is 20. Up, Job 20. Yep. Now remember, in Job, the 9th chapter talks about the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, right? So now we're in Job, the 20th chapter, And I'm gonna go right to the point. I'm gonna start at verse 5, and it reads, this is Job chapter 20, verse 5, and it says, the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. Now, who is the wicked? Who is the seed of the wicked? The Edomites, the so-called white people, but most importantly, the ones at the top. Because they're the ones actually triumphing, because they're the ones calling the shots. They're the one making these rules and regulations for the fucking, these governors and mayors and TSA, these officials, to bring down to the masses. And remember, he's been ruling wickedly this whole time, but now he's going into another phase of bringing in this new system where he's going to really try to be like the Most High. Try to account for everyone, watch everyone, track everyone. Because remember, the Lord said, the eyes of the Lord upon all the inhabitants of the earth. And that's what Esau trying to do. That's what these devils are trying to do. They're trying to have their eyes on all the inhabitants of the earth. They're trying to be in people's thoughts, be in people's minds. They're trying to be like the Most High. But you ain't going to be able to do that, because at the end of the day, everybody's not going to succumb to your bullshit, man. Even your own Edomites, even so-called white people, they're already resistant against the government. Yeah, they might get a real ID and all that, but at the end of the day, the sedition among men is already going out. You already have American citizens, I'm talking about the so-called white ones, white citizens already disgusted about how things are going in America, whether it be Republican or Democrat. Trump supporters, MAGA supporters. All right. So it says, verse 6, and it says, though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head reach unto the clouds. See, with this devil technology, with all these satellites and all that, they're trying to expand their reach throughout outer space, which is not going to happen, because you devils ain't even get to the moon. They talking about they want to go to the moon again. When a motherfucker from NASA already came out and said y'all really didn't go to the moon. But anyway. So it says, Job chapter 20, verse 7, and it reads, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, where is he? And that's what's happening right now. And the Lord is humiliating Esau right now. Look at the shit that they're being exposed for doing. Look at all this shit with Epstein. Shameful spewing on your glory for sure. As we speak, the shameful spewing on your glory is running rampant. And there's more to come. It's gonna be more shameful spewing on your glory, man. And that's why you devils are about to go to war, because now you're just about to be out of here. No one respects you. No one thinks you're any prestigious or as prestigious as you claim to be, or as you perpetrate yourself to be. Everybody knows that you're full of shit. You politicians, you officials, everybody's full of shit. Everybody knows that these devils, these Edomites are full of shit, especially American ones. And now America's fallen, and there's nothing they can do. And they see these devils, they see this shit crumbling. I'm talking about the regular Edomites, they see it crumbling. You look around, you ask people in America how they feel about the current situation in their country. It ain't what it once was. They wanted to go back to a certain way. And it's not what they had in mind when they talked about making America great again. But Trump knew what they had in mind. Trump knew what was about to be done. You don't think that Trump knew about all the shit that's happening right now? He was been told years ago, you're going to do this. This is Job chapter 20, verse 8. And it reads, it says, he shall fly away as a dream and shall not be found. Yea, he shall be chased away as a vision of the night. See, you're about to be phased out. So that's why you out here doing all this with the AI biometrics, because you at your end. Now you just bringing up it's all your plans being brought out. Because why? It's prophecy. Now the time, did you think you about to get this shit off the ground? You about to go to fill up your belly with your sense in this chapter? Here, you think you about to get to the, we about to be able to get this, we gonna get this, we gonna have real ID, and then they all gonna get to see it. Remember, A.K.A. Klaus Schwab said, everybody gonna be see-hipped. But not if YAHAWASHI, I got something to say about it. The Lord already has who's not gonna get it. I'm talking about the elect of Israel. Lord, when I hope to be part of the elect, and if the Lord gives me the strength to endure to the end, to not get no Michael Seib, not get no nothing that could put my salvation in jeopardy, man. Because we at the end, this devil's about to come harder and harder with his bullshit, man. Remember it said, Revelation 12:12, comes down with cruel wrath because he knows he had but a short time. So he's going to continue to do all this cruel wrath, cruel Lord. All right. This is Job chapter 20, verse 9, and it reads, "The eye also which saw him shall see him no more, neither shall his place any more be behold him. His children shall seek to please the poor, and his hand shall restore their goods." That's what these devils try to do now, but at the end of the day, they still come with some backhanded shit. And in order for you to keep getting these benefits, you have to get a real ID. Or if you want to continue to fly or travel, you got to get a real ID. And if you don't get a real ID, you're going to get charged $18. Why? Why is he doing that? Because it's prophecy. He has to bring the cause. The cause for Revelation chapter 13, verse 16 through 18. Remember, he said he caused of all. So he's causing. And he's going to be doing it mischievously. He's not coming out and saying like, yo, you got to get a real ID or you can't fly. He said, no, you can fly. You don't have to pay an $18 fee. And look how, and you know, see how broke people are right now. So they're trying to get any kind of deal they can. So that's going to coerce people to what? Get a real ID or get a passport. All right. Job chapter 20, verse 11, it says, his bones are full of the sin of his youth, which shall lie down with him in the dust. And remember, this devil been running amok. This evil seed has been running amok on the earth for generations and has not gotten judged for none of his crimes against humanity, as they would call it. But especially his crime against who? The Lord's chosen people, the apple of his eye, the Israelites. That's who you got to pay for that. You got to pay what you did to the descendants of Jacob. You won't pay what you did to the tribes. Best believe all of the kidnappings of the children, the rapings of our children, our women, our men, the unaliving, all of what you've done to the Israelites, man. And what you're doing to the other nations, because they're going to get you too. But they're going to get you when we get on top. Ain't going to be like this. You ain't going to be able to just be able to do what the hell you want and oppress the Israelites. Because you know Esau get off on oppressing Jake, man. It's the perpetual hatred. But the Lord said the triumph of the wicked is short. Yeah, you had your time from 330-something BC to now, but now it's up. Now it's over. No, and you got no more redos. You're not going to be able to reign after YAHAWASHI comes back. So you have to get these missiles ready, get these CFs ready, get all the things ready for this new system, because now you're at your end. So we need you to bring out this cruel wrath. We need you to do it. And our job is to trust and have our faith in YAHAWASHI. He's going to protect us from your bullshit. In a time of Jacob trouble that's on the way. All right? Okay, so this is Job chapter 20, verse 12, and it reads, though wickedness be sweet in his mouth, though he hide it under his tongue, though he spare it and forsake it not, but keep it still within his mouth. Yet his meat is in his bowels is turned, it is the gall of ass within him. He has swallowed down riches, and he shall vomit them up again. So all what you've done to get where you at right now, all your lies, all your deceit, that's what he said. It's the wickedness was sweet in his mouth. Well, he said, though his words like butter, war was in his heart. The serpent was the most, damn, what's the word to use? I forget the word. As a subtle? It's conniving, a little swift. But now the Lord is doing what? He's taking the veil off of everyone's eyes now. Now the Lord is exposing, because now we're in the time of Isaiah, the 47th chapter. Where he says, well, your nakedness shall be exposed. Because remember, America, the elites use America to push their agendas heavy. But now America's being exposed. You elites are being exposed. You tiny cats are being exposed. You devils are being exposed. Now everybody knows who's responsible for all the shit that's happening on the earth. All this wickedness. It's Amalek. But YAHAWASHI got your number, so keep on doing what you're doing. You have no other choice. You're going to continue to try to, you're coming into time, you think you're about to fill your belly. You think you're about to get these plans off the ground, your NWO, your martial law, your police state. I'm going to jump down to verse 18. This is Job chapter 20, verse 18. It says, that which he labored for shall he restore, and shall not swallow it down. According to his substance shall the restitution be, and he shall not rejoice therein. Because when you're coming into that time, you about to lose everything, man. And who's the poor? Who is the poor that the Lord is talking about? The Israelites. Who's at the bottom? Who's at the bottom of the show right now? Who's at the bottom of the totem pole of all the nations? The Israelites. Jake. All these nations come over, they can come over to Babylon and great America and prosper over who? The Israelites. So this Job chapter 20, verse 19, it says, yeah, and it says, because he hath oppressed and hath forsaken the poor, because he hath violently taken away an house which he builded not. Whoa. Oh, what happens with your Black Wall Streets? All the things that Jake was doing in America, prospering. What did you do to it? You destroyed it. You come here, you steal it, riches got by deceit. Here it is, you have, all right, you talk about a literal sense, because let's say, right, you have a Jake that he actually built a house. He actually built a house, right? Property taxes. You got behind on taxes. So what happens? The bank could take that property and tear the shit down what you built. Or they could take it, do whatever with it, and then you just get casted out. And you don't own the house anymore. Job chapter 20, verse 20, and it says, surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save of that which he desire. And that's the time we're coming to right now. It's not going to be too pleasant for you anymore, Esau. Matter of fact, it's not that pleasant for you now. Because now what you're doing is you're trying to hold on to this reign that you have. You're trying to hold on to rulership. But the Lord every day is pulling it away from you. He's pulling it away from you. He's pulling it away from you. Let me read that again. Matter of fact, I'm reading that in NLT. So this is Job chapter 20, verse 20 in the NLT, and it says, they were always greedy and never satisfied. Nothing remains of all the things they dreamed about. He said they were always greedy. And what did the Lord say about greed? Which I also, no, that's in Proverbs. Hold on, let's see, get that real quick. I think that's Proverbs 15. Yeah. So this is Proverbs chapter 15, verse 27, and it reads, he that is greedy of gain troubleth his own house, but he that hateth gifts shall live. And you go into the NLT, it says, greed brings grief to the whole family, but those who hate bribes will live. And doesn't Esau lives off of bribes. But it says in the NLT of Proverbs 15 and 27, it says greed, and Esau definitely a greedy bastard. It says greed, because what do they call what these motherfuckers do? Corporate greed. That's how the rich get richer. They be what? They greedy. It says greed. This Proverbs 15 and 27 in the NLT. It says greed brings grief to the whole family. And what family we talk about? Esau. Actually, it could be anybody, but who's at the top right now? Who's the top? Who's the top of the greedy bastard list? These Edomites. They're elites. So right now, y'all got trouble in your house. Y'all got trouble in your nation. Look how your nation feels about you. It says, greed brings grief to the whole family, but those who hate bribes will live. Those who hate bribes will live. They always talk about, and that's a crime in Esau's kingdom, bribery, but they don't get in trouble for it. The ones that really be taking the major bribes. But it's all been exposed that you were taking or giving bribes. So now it's over for you. Now it's over for y'all. Now we at y'all end. You don't have another 50 to 100 or some odd years, man. Lord willing, you don't got another couple years, man. Lord willing, 2026 brings a bit of prophecy that we at the actual end. Because it's about to be 2025, about to be over. We got one more month because it's about to be December in a couple weeks. Then that month is over. Then we're going to be in so-called 2026. Then it's going to be what? January 20th is going to be what? A year since Trump in the office. And look what's happened since then. Look what's been happening. That's why the Lord said what? The triumphing of the wicked is short. What is it? The 250-year mark? But the Lord said 1,000 years is one day to him. So you ain't been ruling nowhere a day, Esau. Well, Babylon the Great, I should say. Because hold up, matter of fact, oh yeah, hold up. Let's see something. Calculator. Hold up. Oops. 20, 25. I think it was like 335, 336. So I said 330. So Esau, as of right now, it says you've been ruling. If you go from the time of Alexander to now, it says you've been ruling for basically 1,700 years. So that's a day and a half, a little over a day and a half. You've been ruling. No, hold up. One. Yeah, no, I think that's right. 330 something BC. Yeah. You basically been a little up to almost 2,000 years. If I did the math right. Oops. Boom, boom, boom. So yeah, so boom, boom. Then Yahawashi came around in the Roman Empire. Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah. So we're in 2025. Yeah, so yeah, okay. So we're almost there at that. Oh, we're almost there. Third day approaching. But okay. Let me go back to Job and close it out. Oops. Blue letter blue. Back to Job. Job chapter 20. Let me jump down to verse 22. So this is the book of Job, chapter 20, verse 22, and it says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. And when you go into the NLT, it says, in the midst of plenty, they will run into trouble and be overcome by misery. And that's what's happening to Esau now. He's being overcome with misery. Look how these devils feel. You watch certain things, especially when it comes on a financial aspect. Low-level Edomite, these low-level Edomites, because you got to start with the low-level Edomites. Look at how these low-level Edomites are in America and throughout the earth, but especially as in Babylon the Great. They're in misery. They're like, yo, they said like the percent of young women from ages 15 to 44. They didn't say the race, but I could bet money that a lot of them were Edomites. They say they want to leave the U.S. permanently. So that's how bad Babylon the Great has got, and that's Isaiah the 47th chapter. Sit down in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon, for there is no throne. America is not the country it once was. It's not the kingdom that it once was. The Lord said, I will make your cities desolate and bare. Right now, especially America, starting with America is being brought down low. Can you go from now, you go back to a few hundred years ago, it's a totally different America. Totally different America. Not even including all the technology and shit. I'm talking about the actual, the spirit. The spirit, how Jake was all docile and all, yes sir, master boss, all that. They don't have that no more. You got the coons, you got the Porsche monkeys out here. But it's not what it once was. And now, on top of that, what has happened? The Lord has his name come back out. The truth is back on the earth. And that's how you know we're at the end of a kingdom when the Lord he said his apostles last. So now all this misery, all the things that the Lord said was going to come upon you is now coming upon you. Because now his prophets are out. Prophesying the downfall of your kingdom and the end of your rulership. So call law YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI for that. This is book Job chapter 20, verse 23, and it says, when he is about to fill his belly, YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain upon him while he is eating. And that's what's happening around. You about to try So my phone, can you hear me? I was only one person watching. Can you hear? Because sometimes the audio be going out when the phone rings. Well, I'm about to close out anyway, but yeah. So it says, yeah, when he is about to fill his belly, Yahawah BAHASHAM shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him and shall rain it upon him while he's eating. And what's going to be that ultimate wrath? Those missiles, that fire. That fire is going to rain on these devils. That fire is going to rain on Babylon. That fire is going to rain on Esau. Come on. And that's what's coming. This shit about to get, excuse my friend, this shit about to get laid the fuck out. And rightfully so, because look what this place did to our people. Look what it did to the Israelites. Trail of Tears, the lynchings, the kidnappings, the injustice to the Israelites, to the tribe of Judah, to the head tribe, to the tribe YAHAWASHI came from, and you think that this place is going to get away scot-free? No. The Lord said it's a righteous thing to recompense them that trouble you. All right? It says, this is Job chapter 20, verse 24, and it reads, he shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. So you ain't going to escape no judgment. You ain't going to escape the pain. Where is it in the NLT, I wonder? Well, in the NLT of Job 20 and 24, it says, when they try to escape an iron weapon, a bronze-tipped arrow will pierce them. Hey, don't the Lord compare the missiles to arrows? They're coming. They're prepared. Hey, y'all prepare your own arrows too. But at the end of the day, America's going to be completely wiped out. Thus saith Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. Contrary to belief, this is Babylon the Great, the daughter of Babylon that the Bible speaks of, man. Revelation, the 18th chapter, that says Babylon is fallen. It is fallen. In this place, America is fallen. It says, this is Job chapter 20, verse 25, and it says, it is drawn and cometh out the body, yea, the glittering sword cometh out of his gall, terrors are upon him. And we go into the NLT of Job 20 and 25, it says, the arrows pull from their back, and the arrowhead glistens with blood. The terrors of death are upon them. The terrors of death are upon them. Matter of fact, you look at what these devils are doing now to their own families. Unaliving themselves, unaliving their families. These devils are getting really in their violent bag. Look what they're doing over there in the Middle East. Look what they're doing. Look what Russia's doing to Ukraine, which are both Edomites. Man, if I'm gonna read that, I'm gonna close over this. Because since it's about to be 2026, this is the book of Job, chapter 20, verse 26, and it reads, all darkness shall be hid in his secret places. A fire not blown shall consume him. It shall go ill with him that is left in his tabernacle. And we read that in the NLT, it says, their treasures will be thrown into deepest darkness. So you about to lose everything. It says, a wildfire will devour their goods, consuming all they have left. And that's going to be those missiles at the end of the day, ultimately. And then the fire that Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI is coming with. You about to lose everything, about to burn up, including you. Including you. Those nuclear missiles that everybody's preparing, those are going to burn you Edomites, man. That's going to burn America. That's why they talk about, oh, they want to build a golden dome. The golden, ain't no dome going to protect you, man. And you might not, shit. And you might not even build it in time. But yeah, man. But hey, that's it. Hey, that's the way the cookie crumbles, man. You at your end. That's it. Hey, every great empire must fall except for Yahawah's kingdom. And it's the last. Remember, the Lord said what? Esau at the end of the world, Jacob's the beginning of it that followeth. Esau is ruling right now, and now Esau at his end. So we, the Israelites, are about to rule next under who? Yahawah, who the world enemy called Jesus Christ. And I'm going to end off with that. So, with that, Lord willing, is edifying. We give all praises to Yahawah, BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM KAKADASH. Double honor to the Apostles of Israel, aka the Apostles of Red Millstone, and peace and love to all the Akim. Continue to preach the truth and all truth and sincerity. Shalom.